The national news media is making a big deal over the welfare fraud scandal involving Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Harris's former vice presidential running mate. But they're doing nothing to shine a light on the more significant welfare fraud happening here in California under Gavin Newsom. Why is that, you ask? Coming up, we've got the receipts. Just how bad is the welfare fraud scandal under Gavin Newsom and how it may derail his presidential ambitions? I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. And I've got to watch with some amusement the national media carving up Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota, Kamala Harris's former vice presidential running mate. There are a number of dirty monikers that are used against Tim Walz, and he's earned them all. But the one being king of welfare fraud? No. Gavin Newsom's like, hold my beer, buddy. Newsom has a far worse record when it comes to allowing billions and billions of fraud through negligence and mismanagement, intentional in my opinion. It's so bad that it has to be intentional, and I'll explain why in just a moment. We're going to go through the receipts on that, but let me just say up front, as Gavin Newsom runs for president, it is our duty to expose his failures, his corruption, because we cannot allow Americans to be hoodwinked, duped by this charlatan. And right now they are. Newsom is surging in the polls in the race for president. And nobody understands just how great the failures are out here in California. What is the misery index that he's created? It's up to us, those that know Gavin the best or the worst, to expose him. At Reform California, we have a campaign underway, and it's called Expose Gavin Newsom. Go to our website, reformcalifornia.org, and you'll find the campaign under our campaign page. We are creating a dirt file on this SOB. And that dirt file is going to be crucial to get in the hands of national media outlets and educate voters nationwide as they start looking at the 2028 presidential race. And it's beginning. It's happening. It's well underway. But we have an obligation at Reform California to expose, to investigate, to shine a light, and to educate. So please help us out. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, and do a few things. First, sign up, because we need to expand the awareness of Newsom's failures and the failures of the Democrat supermajority here in California. Go to the bottom of the website, put in your first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. What do you get when you do that? You will be informed as to what we are doing in California, particularly in your area. We issue a voter guide that's been really helpful to voters in breaking through the deceptive titles that politicians put on ballot measures, where they hide bad things in ballot measures with deceptive titles. We give you a plain English voter guide every election. Plus, we rank and evaluate candidates for judge, school board. We do all the homework so that you can make an informed decision as a voter. But we also send out our weekly newsletter, gives you an update on California news and politics so you're informed, and we do events in your area. So sign up at the bottom of the website if you can chip in a contribution. Let's get right into it. So Tim Walz, completely getting heat, and justifiably so, for his abysmal record of welfare fraud in Minnesota. Here's even Newsweek covering the story. Tim Walz, Minnesota welfare fraud allegations, everything we know. Goes on to talk about billions of dollars in welfare fraud that have been identified. It started out with this Feeding Our Future scheme that involves Somali organizations, basically stealing $250 million, $250 million. And it has since resulted in federal charges amongst dozens of individuals in the Somali community. Remember, this is all this money being funneled to NGOs, and then members of the NGO siphoning off the money. A huge fraud ring under his watch. But as that came out, the employees at the Department of Human Services in the state of Minnesota. Uh, Went to the X platform and basically says this is a cascade of systemic failures leading up to Tim Walz. Leadership does not want to appear to discriminate against certain communities. We're unwilling to take action, such as stopping fraud, that would have an inverse or adverse impact on their image. Fundamentally, Tim Walz is dishonest, lacks ethics and integrity, has poor leadership abilities, and has never taken any accountability for his role in fraud. They estimate about $10 billion in fraud over the term that Walz has had as governor. And of course, Gavin Newsom sitting there smiling ear to ear, thinking, 10 billion? Boy, sucker. I've done so much worse. But why is the liberal media not paying attention to the monumentally bigger scandal here in California? It's my opinion that they want Newsom to be the president, that they are covering up. They're not kicking the tires. They don't like Walz. Walz is actually, potentially looking at running for president because typically when you're the vice presidential candidate, you're on a short list along with the other yahoos that are in the Democrat Party running for president. But here is what Newsom's record is. You talk about the food stamp fraud in Minnesota, a quarter $1 billion of food stamp fraud over the course of several years. Well, we've got tens of millions of taxpayer dollars with EBT theft. And this is just the electronic benefit card. Food stamps in the state of California have a fraud rate of 13.4%. That's billions of dollars since 2018. Billions, not 250 million with Walz. We're talking about $4 to $6 billion of food stamp fraud since Newsom took office. And it's well documented here. And there is no seemingly sense of outrage or accountability for billions of dollars of food stamp fraud in California versus $250 million, 250 million in Minnesota. By the way, California has one of the worst fraud rates at 13.4% of every benefit being paid out is fraudulent. 13.4%. The federal government says that you need to keep it to just 5%. That's 1 in 20 that they're willing to accept as a fraudulent payout. 1 in 20. But in California, it's nearly 3 in 20. Benefits being paid out are fraudulent because of Newsom's negligence. It doesn't stop there. Take a look here. $32.6 billion in unemployment fraud. And that's just in a 2-year period when Newsom shut down our economy. Billions of fraudulent payouts were made through the unemployment insurance program. So just over a 2-year period, and this story is from 2022, October 6th, 32.6 billion, and estimates were that was on the low end. It gets worse than that. In order to pay out all these fraudulent benefits, Newsom took out a loan from the federal government. And right now, that loan remains unpaid. We're talking about $20 billion worth of outstanding federal IOU notes for unemployment welfare payouts. And now Newsom has to pay it back. Oh, but he's not going to pay it back. He's not even going to pay the principal on that loan. Instead, he's barely making the interest payments. And in order to make the interest payments on his $20 billion loan to cover $32.6 billion in fraudulent payments, he's raised the payroll tax here in the state of California on small businesses. For every employee they now have a much higher payroll tax as a result. I mean, you can't make this crap up. So he gives out tens of billions of dollars in fraudulent payouts, dwarfing the Tim Walz scandal that has engulfed nationwide media outlets for the last 72 hours. Newsom does far worse, and it involves taking out a loan and then forcing struggling small businesses to pay higher payroll costs per employee. Here's the story from just a few months ago. California businesses bear brunt of growing unemployment benefit debt. Can we just say it? Newsom's unemployment benefit debt because of fraudulent payouts. None of this is getting national attention. But again, it gets back to my point. Newsom is running for president. The national liberal media wants to help him out, so they're covering up his misdeeds. And Republicans are so stupid, they're not seeing how dangerous Newsom is. They don't know Gavin Newsom the way you and I do. They don't know how Teflon he is, how he's literally able to lie and do it so convincingly. We are building that dirt file. We are the ones left to warn the nation. But we can't do this alone. So go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, and chip in a contribution. We have investigators that we continue to fund, researchers, doing all sorts of work on the contracts, the grants that he's given. Talk about funneling money to politically sensitive communities. California is the #1 state for abusing taxpayer money to fund political NGOs, left-wing organizations. We've featured this by shining a light on the various grant programs and contracts that have been given out to shady far-left NGOs through the state budget, and it's happening at the local level as well. We've got this whole program called Follow the Money. No other group is doing this work, and it comes at a time when Newsom is running for president, so it's all the more important that we get your help. Also, if you can't chip in a contribution, at least like this video, subscribe to this channel so that we can boost the algorithm and make sure that we get more coverage for unbiased news and politics information here in the state of California. The liberal media bias is so great. The only way we have to reach voters are through podcasts like this one. So like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. 84% of you are not subscribed, so please do that. Shining a light on Newsom's fraud. Much worse than Tim Walz. Liberal media won't do it. We've got to do it. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state.